time, we are going to prepare ourselves for our first guest speaker, amen, who's going to be speaking on trust, Daniall Foskey. And her bio is in the program for you to read. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to just give a brief introduction that she is recognized as the 3 best rated marriage counselor and referred to as a soul digger. My goodness, a therapeutic genius, excavating coals from souls and making them diamonds. I love the way that sounds. She helps clients identify soul wounds, which is so important, and uses her clinical expertise in affirmation words as an ointment to heal soul infections. As a result, clients often leave with their identities revived, futures reimagined, and confidence rekindled. Let us receive her as she comes.
Amen.
I want to make sure I do this right. I'm sitting down, right? Oh, I wasn't sure. I definitely watched the video, Miracle. How y'all doing? Let me tell y'all something. All hell has been breaking loose in my life. And it's so amazing how God works, because when Dr. Miracle asked me to speak on trust, I think it was maybe May or June, I'm like, oh, that's going to be easy. Trust. The first scripture I ever learned after Jesus wept was Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. That was going to be so easy. You understand me? Because I have gone through so much, and I have crossed so many hurdles and been through so many trials, and I have gone back like the Harriet Tubman, and I've brought people out of slavery, of bondage, emotional bondage, there it is. But then, August 7th, I'm being transparent, of 2021, and I would never have ever thought that I would say this. I was going to call Miracle and say, I cannot speak any longer because I don't really trust God anymore. Because I had gone through so much, and I had been through so much, and I had overcome so much, and I had believed God through so much, and I had helped so many clients through so much that when something so small as me trying to get my child's car fixed for $1,800, then turn around and pay $900, I went and picked that car up, I drove her home, and the engine blew. And this is on the heels of me paying out-of-state tuition as a single parent, because as a top-rated marriage counselor, I am divorced after 21 years. Yeah, I trust God. Isn't that amazing that I had prophecies, that I had a marriage ministry before I became a therapist, and then I did not understand how in the world can I have a marriage ministry when I am divorced. But God said, trust in me in all your ways, and I will direct that path. And on August 7th, I cried and I said, God, I have trusted you through divorce. I trusted you through the death of my father. At the same time my husband walked out, my marriage died at the same time that my father died, and I trusted you, God. I trusted you when I lost my home and my truck, the engine blew out, and then so I said, well, I got a car now. But then that car, the motor went out, and I trusted you through that. And I trusted you for raising my children by myself for 8 years. I trusted you, God. The least you could have done, Lord, is not allow me to pay all this money for this card. I mean, I really went through it to the point where I told some friends, stop sending me scriptures I don't want to hear. And I'm the friend that everybody calls for a prophetic word. I'm the friend that everyone calls for prayer because they trust the God in me. But I had started to not trust the God in me. And this morning, I woke up in pain. I woke up in excruciating pain. I have brought my out. Outbreak in years. But this morning, I was in pain. My mom's I couldn't know. I was bent over. My ankles hurt, my wrists hurt, my head hurt, my back hurt. But I realized that I am called to those in pain. Now, how did I wake up in pain and have a purpose to be here today? I have no talk about it because I've been trying to prepare, and all hell has been breaking loose as I prepare to move to Charlotte next week. But I said, God, I said yes. I want to tell you all that when you say yes, your yes will be tested. Some of you have said yes years ago, and like me, you have crossed hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and you can't tell you that you don't know God, that you don't trust God. And sometimes when the littlest thing happens, a huge thing that happens, that thing can break you. But you are called to those who are in pain. In 2014, after my father passed away, I'm sorry, I have to look at my phone because my memory is crazy. I wrote something about pain as a therapist who was going through a horrible divorce, a very unexpected horrible divorce. I'm going to tell you about my testimony a little bit. A very horrible divorce and the death of my father. I laid hands on my father for 3 days. I believed God to heal him. I expected God to heal my father, who was a mighty man of God. You could not tell me that my father was not going to live. You understand me? And I laid hands because the Bible said that they laid hands on him. So I laid hands and I prayed over him for 3 days while I was home with my mom after he had gone to be in hospital. And I really expect a miracle. I expected the same miracle that God, that I prayed for my daughter to be revived in my womb back in 2000 and what year was my I think it was 1996. 1996, 97, I had my second miscarriage. My daughter died in my womb, and they said, we have to remove your child. And I said, you will not remove nothing out of me, because my Bible says to have the elders lay hands on me. So I went to my elders, they laid hands on me, and I stayed all night, up all night. I fasted and I prayed, and I expected God to save my child. That next morning, I went to the doctor, and they watched me. I knew that God was going to perform a miracle. I read about this God who performed miracles after miracles. I just knew that God was going to perform a miracle in me. So I laid down on that table, and after the examination, the doctor said, Danielle, your baby is deceased. And I remember thinking, and something quickened inside of me. And I said, God, I recognize you have your perfect will. And I believe perfect will is when God's perfect will is for healing. But sometimes his permissive will allows healing to be in glory, but you're still healed. And I recognize that I still trusted that the God that I serve, if it would have been his perfect will and his permissive will for my child to live, she would have lived. That's the level of trust that I began to have. And so I would often give this testimony to my clients about, you know, the loss of my child, the loss of my husband, the loss of my father. I would say, keep pressing, because I'm called to those of you who are in pain or who have experienced pain, and I'm not going to talk, I promise. But this is what I wrote right after my father died and my marriage was being buried. My pain postured me for prayer. My prayers positioned me in God's presence. God's presence prepared me for my purpose. My purpose propelled me towards God's plan. God's plan precludes the perpetuation of the enemy's plots to destroy my life. And the conclusion of the enemy's plots is the prelude to God's promises. And God's promises prompts the praise for my pain. I am called to those of you who are in pain or who have experienced pain, and especially who have to continue to walk in your divine purpose, even in the midst of pain. Is there anybody in here? Have you ever experienced the kind of pain that you know that you could not go through without God? Has your trust ever been tested because of that pain? But you still trust God, right? You know why? Because the dictionary says that trust is a firm belief in the ability, trust, and reliance of a thing. Firm belief in the ability, trust, and reliability of a thing. You trust it when you walk in this room and sit in that chair. You expect it to hold you up no matter how much weight you gain. You expect that chair to hold you up. Why? Because we trust the purpose of a chair, because we sat in so many chairs. But I'm going to tell you, last month in August, I went to talk to one of my supervisees. I'm a supervisor for counselors who are trained to become licensed. And I went to Canary to meet my supervisee, and I sat in a chair expecting the chair to hold me up, and the chair was broke unbeknownst to me, and I fell in the chair in Canary. However, I'm sitting in this chair, not afraid that it's going to break. I sat in that chair, not afraid it was going to break. Why? Because that one incident does not derail what I know about the purpose of the chair, right? We have got to get to a point where we trust God like that. God has shown me what He wants me to say about trust, but I want to make sure you don't have a question for me, because I do not want to go against the grain of things, okay. So I am, as you know, a therapist, but I was also a school counselor for 13 years in elementary and middle school. So I love acronyms, because I feel like acronyms help us to remember some things, But when you think about trusting God, why do you trust God? I want to hear, I'm really asking you, why do you trust God? Anybody? Why do you trust God? Go ahead and say it. He's faithful. Why do we trust God? He's faithful. What else? He always shows up. Why do we trust God? He loves us. He's faithful. He always shows up, and He is reliable. But when you don't trust Him, why is that? Now, I know we're sitting here with a bunch of saints, so we don't want to say we don't trust God, right? I'm the one who will admit that there was time I didn't trust God, right? Okay, there we go. Okay? There's some areas that I believe that was really thinking about that trusting God thing. And I'm going to do TRUST. Sometimes we fail to trust God because we don't trust him with his timing. That's the first T, time. Some people are believing God for a husband and children, but you're in your late 30s or your early 40s, and you heard God make that promise, and you say, but God, when is it going to happen? Because everybody else that I know have already had children, they've already been married, they have children in college. What about me? Time. Some of you guys have great expectations about the gifts making room for you, and the timing has not come. You've had prophetic words that it's time to do the thing, but the timing seems off. That is an area that we are going to be tested with our time. But I'm going to say, trust God with the time of something. Because his ways are not like our ways. His time, we don't know the time of God, because a day for us is 1,000 years to come. I'm like, God, when are you going to do this thing that you promised me? But he said, do you trust me with the time? Like Sarah, who was promised a child in her old age, and God had to trust him with the time, with everyone around her she was barren. Sometimes when we fail to trust God with our time, we try to speed things up, and we burst some Ishmaels. Some of you are in pain, and you feel like time is ticking in some areas. But I am going to admonish you to trust him with his time. Because why? He knows the plans he has for us. And he knows the timing he has for us. What about our relationship? Do you trust God in your relationships? Sometimes in relationships, the relationship is ripped apart. Do you trust God when your heart has been ripped apart by someone who said they would love you for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poor, until death do you part? I trusted those words from my ex-husband. I trusted that the woman across the street who he had a fit with, I stayed across the street, my friend, my neighbor, a woman that I had supped with, a woman that I had prayed for and hugged when she was going through things, a woman whose children I would take here and there, carpooling, a woman whose children played in my house in my backyard, and I prayed for her in her marriage while she laid on my chest and wept. I trusted that I could trust her with my husband, right? I trusted that. Yeah. I trusted God with some relationship with some friends who have been prayer partners, prayer warriors for me, my intercessor team. And those for me, it's like when people are in Christ, I don't understand when you're in your 40s how relationships can be destroyed. I don't understand that. But do I still trust that God will bring me other people? Some of you have had people that betray you, right? Some people have broken your heart. And so, as a therapist, I know that one wound that we have is a wound of trust. And that wound emerges because someone has broken trust. And oftentimes when trust has been breached and are broken, you have a hard time trusting others but most importantly, you have a hard time trusting God in your relationship. But I want you to trust when a relationship is ripped, but also when it's repaired and restored. Because sometimes a ripping takes place because God has to do something in your life. And then He'll restore that thing to come back. But you have to trust Him with your relationship. Do you trust God with the unknown? When God told Abraham, I will to go to a place that I will show you, I would read that and be like, what? What is that? A place that you're going to show me? That makes no sense to me. You're just going to get up and go? And God doesn't give you all the details. I like to know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. I want all of it. A to Z. I want every step. But this has been a season in my life where I have learned that I have to trust God with what I don't know or understand. I have to trust Him with the unknown and what I don't understand. Because the word says to lean not on my what? Own understanding. I don't understand why I'm finally in a place where I'm financially in a great place. I'm finally in a place where I'm empty nesting. My eldest son graduated from Virginia Tech. My youngest son is a sophomore at North Carolina A&T, and my business is thriving. I do not understand why God said your season in Chesapeake, Virginia is time to move. What? Are you serious? I just 4 years ago. I just started my business. What, God, what are you doing? I don't understand. And my business is still thriving here. I'm not closing down. I'm doing the virtually right now. Most of my clients don't know I'm leaving yet. I don't understand why God's told me to go. It is unknown. But I've learned to trust Him with what I don't know and what I don't understand. S. Trust Him with your seasonal situations. For everything, there is a season, right? Some of you are in the thick of the most egregious storm of your life. But let me tell you about storms, what I learned about storms. They only last for a season. Now see, I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and we have had a lot of hurricanes, so I understand what happens when hurricanes come, right? You got that eye of the storm, right? And that is really the most detrimental time of a hurricane. Some of you are in the eye of a storm. And I heard a pastor say one time that either you are coming out of a storm, in the midst of a storm, or you want to enter into the storm. But you have to trust Him in the seasonal situations that create those storms. Some of you have situations where you've lost loved ones. My mother lost her best friend of 42 years, the greatest man on this side of heaven. I'm sorry, my daddy was, and my daddy might be okay. He was not Daniel Marshall. I'm going to tell you what I know. Okay? He taught me how to be loved. He showed me, oh, my dad was a great man of God. He showed me how to trust God even in the midst of death. That was a situation for him. See, cancer was a seasonal situation for him. There was a time he had cancer for a season, but I watched my daddy serve God with his entire heart. And he said, I am not afraid to die. He said, Jesus took the stench of death. He said, and whether God heals me on earth, on the other side of heaven, I am healed. So not only did my father teach me how to live, my father taught me how to die. He died trusting with all his heart, lean not to his own understanding. And in all his ways he acknowledged him. And guess what? God directed his path. He did. One day my mom was cleaning up and she saw a little bit of a piece of paper that my dad left because my dad was always writing. My mom is like, I don't know what the power like another year, she's gonna keep her house clean. I don't know, I didn't get that from her. But anyway, she is like very clean. So the fact that 6 months after my father's death, she found a piece of paper that I don't know how she could see it. And on the piece of paper, it said, when you really love God, you want to do his will. Even if his will for your life is death. Did you hear me? When you really love God, you want to walk in his will for your life. Even if his will for your life is death. Some of you have loved ones who've gone to glory. Some of you have had, doctors say you've had cancer or diabetes or COVID, whatever it was that you've been diagnosed with, some mental things. I do that. I have to diagnose people with things, and sometimes it's so hard. I recently had to do a diagnosis. It was so difficult for me. I tried to delay the diagnosis as much as I could. I didn't understand how God would allow this to happen to someone who has a note on their life. God, it's one of those diseases that as therapy, like, there's nothing you can do, you're going to decline. But I told that person that God says that his name is above all other names. I don't care what the DSM-5 says. Jesus, and I believe in diagnosing, but I believe that the name of Jesus is above any diagnosis. And the way the thing manifests when you are in Christ and you're in a season, if you trust God, even in the midst of what you are going through, he will get you through that season. I'm asking you if you're in pain. I'm asking you if you have witnessed others in pain to trust him with the seasonal situations you find yourself in. If you are going through divorce, trust him. If you became suddenly a single parent, trust God. If you've lost the love of your life and you don't understand, trust God. Trust him. The last T is your talent. God says your gifts are without repentance. That means he ain't gonna take it back. Some of us have talents that we have not tapped into fully. We have talents that we have not really walked in. When I think about talent, about your gifts, there was a time in my life I knew that I had a call in my life, but I would not fully walk in it because there was a fear in me. I'm gonna be transparent. I walked in it, I dabbled in it prophetically. I would speak certain times. I didn't understand why people keep asking me to speak. I'm not a preacher. I was like, well, I didn't hear from want me to speak. I don't understand. I'm not a pastor, and all these pastors, I feel. But I recognized that I was not trusting God with my talent, my prophetic talent, the talent for me to speak, because there was a fear in me from past wounds that said, I did not want for God to use me as a vessel to help him say yes to others while he always said no to me. I'm going to say it again. fully walking in my anointing because I was afraid that God will continue to use me as a vessel for him to say yay to everyone else while he said no to me. And that was my past wound. Because my past wound said you don't let the doctors do it against you, you go pray, you go fast, you come back and a miracle gonna come, and then that baby died. That was my second baby that passed away. That woman said when you lay hands on your father, he's gonna be killed, miracles gonna come, but he went to glory. I trusted God to restore my marriage of 21 years. And he left. Not only did he leave, he left and stopped being a father to our children. Now we both had parents who were married until death did them part. His parents were still married. So I don't understand divorce. And God hates divorce. Yet I'm called to couples. What in the world? I love couples. But I had that soul wound. When I lost my home that I prayed God for, it foreclosed. And the woman across the street who had an affair with my husband, I never told her husband I did not want children to go through what my kids were going through. So I never disclosed what happened. But she still had her car. And she still had her house. Mine foreclosed, my car, the transmission went out on one and then the motor on another. And I had to move to a tiny apartment with 3,500 square foot home. Okay. But I decided that I was going to trust God with my talents. And my last point is, you guys, no matter what you're going through, trust God with your gifts. Trust him to make room for your gifts and put you before great men. And most importantly, trust that he has called you to a thing and expect that you are going to fulfill that thing. But firmly trust in God's reliability and ability to ensure that you walk boldly in your divine purpose. Thank you.
Amen. Those who trust in the Lord will not be disappointed. Those who trust in the Lord will not be put to shame. And we have to trust the process of God. And when we trust God's process, a lot of what you said was processing. And as you trust God's process, he will lead you to a place where he will be glorified. We only suffer for a little while. But after, it's just for a little while. And how you handle your no's and how you handle will determine your names. And your story of questioning and trusting God is very familiar. I recently went through a situation myself where I had to trust God. And God gave me a TRUST as well. Talk truth to me. Rely on me. Understand me. Submit to me. And then you will trust me. Even when you can't trace me. God gave me a word that before the end of 2021 that I would be an administrator. I got an application and they didn't call me for an interview. I put in another application. I got the interview, but I didn't get selected for the job. I put in another application. I got the interview, but I did not get selected for the job. TRUST me, daughter, he said, talk truth to me, rely on me, understand me, submit to me, so that you can trust me. I told somebody, I said, I got PTSD. I'm not applying for another position. Here it is, the school year has started. I'm already back in my old position. And somebody sent me a message and said, are coming available. I need you to apply. I said, I'm not going to apply. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this school year, and I'll start next school year. But the Holy Spirit said, you better apply. Trust me. I had to talk truth to God. God, I'm afraid to apply. He said, who are you relying on? I went back in my journal and I read that God said, before the end of 2021, you are going to be an administrator. So what I realized, I was talking my truth and not his truth. But I had to begin to speak his truth. God, you said that before 2021 was over, I was going to be an administrator. So I sat at my computer and I applied for those 2 jobs. Holy Spirit said, ask for the one that you want. You know what I asked for? The one that I want. Because I said, God, if this is really you, if you really gonna do it, I want this one. Because it makes no sense for me to get it. So if I get it, it has to be because I TRUST you. School year already started. I'm back at my school. And I got called for the one that wasn't qualified. Trust the process. God sees around the corner. How I handle my no, how I handle my not yet, determine my now. Because in a few short weeks, I'm going to be going to a new school as the assistant principal of a high school, and I've never been to a high school. TRUST. Stop talking our truth. Talk his truth. Stop relying on our own self. Rely on the word. Don't understand anything that's natural. Understand the God that you serve and then submit to it. It's September, God. TRUST me. I've already started at TRUST me. Trust the process. I don't know who I'm talking to. You think that God has forgotten about you. You think that the time has passed. You think that he's not going to remember. But I came to tell you today, TRUST him. Trust the process. Talk truth to him. Rely on him. Understand that he is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he shall repent. And you got to submit to his ways. Because his ways are not our ways. Trust the process. Trust the process. Know why you're here? So you can trust the process. Everything that you say is just process. He sees around the corner. He knows the way that we take. And when it makes no sense to us, I found out that God has a sense of humor. And he's a funny God. But let me tell you something. It's always good. I did a Facebook post and I said, I thought I would be doing something different this year, but trust God, I'm going to go on it. Everybody saw that I had to start the school year, not in the position that I thought I was going to be in. Not in the position that he prophesied I was going to be in. But God did it late. The first shall be last, and the last he did it late, so that all eyes could see him be glorified. TRUST. Trust the process. Amen, amen, amen.